How's it going, everybody? Outlet here, and this is the second part of What If Deku Had Gojo's Powers. If you haven't seen the first part, there's a link in the description to that. And like always, let's begin with this What If. Alright, class, are you ready for your first hero class? That's all would say with a subtle smirk on his face. Many of the students would look at him wondering, why did he have this smirk? Was he up to something? These kids still weren't very trustworthy of their teacher, as it really just seemed like UA just went and picked up some random homeless guy off the street and called him a hero. However, all of this would be changed when they would start to hear just stomping from down the hall. The stomping would get closer and closer till the door would be smacked wide open. The two splinters of the once was door would be sent flying out of the window, as All Might would stand there flexing his valiant muscles with a massive smile on his face. Many of the classmates wouldn't even believe it. They would be standing there in awe, looking at All Might, wondering, whoa, is that really All Might? It would say with a smile on their face, many of them running up to meet him like, All Might, it's so nice to meet you. Many of them still with their mouths to the floor, not even sure, was this really the #1 hero? Many of them couldn't fathom ever meeting him, as it was just that rare of an occurrence. Calm down, class, calm down. Please return to your seats. We're going to be quite busy today, as we are going to be doing a heroes versus villains test. One team's going to be the heroes, while the other team is going to be the villains. All Might would then go on to explain it, which I know most of you, well, hopefully all of you watching this, have watched My Hero Academia before, so you all must know the rules. After that, All Might would click a button and all of their hero uniforms would slowly come out in these suitcases. Zuko would walk over to it, flicking it open, seeing his trench coat-like uniform, as it ended up just putting it on over his UA uniform. Many of the students were there wondering why he just didn't bother going to a locker room and why he didn't bother changing the clothes under it, but he's a Zuko. He's like 3 years older than all of them, so of course he's just gonna be some weirdo, right? As they would all be getting this, they would all walk down to the locker rooms getting changed before meeting All Might in the same city that many of them fought the entrance exam in. Once there, All Might would direct them to a building before calling up the groups. Alright, and lastly, the last group of heroes is going to be Izuku and Momo, and the villains, Todoroki and Bakugo. Alright, now that those are set, let's begin, All Might would say. Many times would end up passing, as Izuku and Momo would slowly just wander off to the front of the building. Waiting there, Izuku would start to suddenly fall asleep, but before All Might would yell, "And begin!" Both Izuku and Momo would slowly walk into the building, being very cautious, looking around every single corner. However, upon reaching the second floor, both of them would be met by very blinding light. Izuku would use this chance to slip away, as Momo would create a shield. Todoroki would be there blasting fire upon waves of fire, blasting down upon Momo's shield that she had just created. She would be holding it back, wincing in pain as the heat would blow by her like she was a turkey roasting in a conventional oven. She would sit there gritting her teeth in pain and agony, as Izuku basically just left her there to die and cook under Todoroki's heat. However, Izuku would use this distraction to go up and find the third floor staircase. As he was walking in, however, Zuko would be stopped by one Katsuki Bakugo. He would stop him before cracking his knuckles. "It's time I finally challenged you, Izuku. I remember you. Don't think I don't. I remember getting you expelled from that stupid elementary school. It was all your fault. If it wasn't for me, you would probably still would be in school. You'd probably be a hero right now instead of having to deal with me," he would say, clenching his fist with a demonic smile on his face. Zuko would calmly look over towards Bakugo before asking him if he was going to fight him or was he going to have to initiate it. Bakugo would laugh. "Are you really, this confident? I'm Bakugo. I'm gonna easily be able to stop you. You just have some stupid quirk with your eyes. I have this," he would say, staring down at his hands. The arrogant fool would look back towards Izuku, racing towards him, slamming an explosion into Izuku's face. At least, that's what he thought it was. Zuko would stand there with a look glaring at Bakugo, glaring into his eyes. Bakugo would recoil, taking a step back in shock. What? How? I could have sworn I hit you! He would... Hey, before Zuko would smile. Come on, Bakugo. You can't be this stupid. Bakugo would then go right for a gut punch, however it wouldn't reach Zuko at all. He would continue sending blast after blast, with each explosion just seemingly skipping over Zuko and hitting the wall behind him. Bakugo sweating, breathing heavily. I can't believe this. How? How have none of my attacks hit him? He would yell, or looking down towards his gauntlet, smiling with a demonic grin. His teeth would widen before pulling the pin. Bakugo, no, don't! All Might would yell over the loudspeaker, however, it was too late. Bakugo pulled the pin, aiming it right at Izuku, as a massive explosion would come barreling down upon Izuku. However, upon it reaching Izuku, it wouldn't hit him at all, rather jumping over him just like all of Bakugo's last blows, jumping over and blowing a massive hole right through the building. Izuku looked towards Bakugo. Are you done? He would say in a cold voice, or pointing a finger at him, taking off his blindfold. Reversal red, Izuku would say towards Bakugo, as a red, blinding light would blind Bakugo's eyes before hitting him, sending him flying across the city. All Might would jump up, jumping, catching him, jumping through the ceiling of the watchtower. Jesus. Izuku, calm down with your strength. You could have killed him. It's not my fault he almost killed me first. I'm lucky my quirk's just powerful enough that it would have blocked that. If it was anyone else, his explosion would have killed someone. Zuku's All Might would close his eyes. That is true. Guess he got what he was coming for, but still, Izuku would walk the 3rd floor, or he went up seeing no one inside the room. He would walk towards the bomb before his feet would be frozen. Izuku would look over towards Todoroki. So, you finally decided to show yourself. Todoroki would throw Momo's unconscious body down to the floor, with wraps surrounding her arms, keeping her from moving. However, that wasn't a problem since she was unconscious. As Todoroki would look towards Izuku, asking him if he was going to give up yet, Izuku would look towards him before shaking his head. Well, I'm not surprised you were able to defeat Momo so quickly. I merely used her as a distraction. She was only going to hold me back against Bakugo anyway. She had to learn the hard way after all. She's very low battle IQ. Sort of a stark contrast from me, but then again, you have low IQ as well, Zuko would say, holding up his hand, blocking Todoroki's fire. Zuko would appear to throw something out, as this sort of bluish portal-looking thing would start sucking up everything. So it would be sucking this thing up as Zuko would calmly walk over, touching the bomb, and would be given the victory. As Zuko would walk back, holding Momo and Todoroki, Zuko would place them down as Recovery Girl would slowly end up healing them. It was quite dangerous of Izuku, but yet I don't blame you. If someone like Bakugo was there with me too, doing stuff as rash as that, I probably would have done the same thing. Good job, All Might would say. And with that, it is done. You all might now go change and go home. Suzuki looked down up towards the clock. He would see that it was almost 8 p.m. However, he could care less. No one was waiting on him, and Zuku would just walk back to his house. It wasn't like anyone was going to be there for him anyway. The only real problem was he was going to have to make dinner, and it was already almost time for him to go to bed, since he was going to have to wake up at 6 a.m. anyway to walk to school. Couple weeks would end up passing as we now see our favorite Izuku Gojo sitting in his seat. Aizawa would slowly walk in, sort of haphazardly, before leaning down onto the pedestal. Alright, class, he would say with a tired voice. Today we're gonna be going towards a field trip towards the USJ. Alright, so please make your way down to the locker rooms and get changed, and don't be late. We're not gonna be waiting on anyone. It already takes a hell of a long time to get over there. Plus, we have to start and meet our quota for the day, or else we're not going to be able to do it tomorrow. So hurry your asses up. He would, as everyone would nod their heads before running off. As they would rush off, Izuku would get to the bus first, sort of teleporting down in the locker room and then back to the bus. As you'd be sitting there, sort of just kind of like sitting there sleeping, as he had gotten home at 12 a.m., deciding to stop on his way at a local McDonald's to pick up some food. It really didn't help that his house was 4 hours away. So, with Izuku now sitting in the bus, everyone would end up getting there around 20 minutes later. The bus would speed off towards the USJ, as Izuku and the rest of their class would start asking each other questions, like what made them become a hero. One of them would turn towards Izuku. So, Izuku, you look older than the rest of us. Do you mind saying how old you are? Since you weren't at the entrance exam, and you also didn't pass the teacher test Nezu gave you, I was just wondering. Oh, I'm 18, Izuku would say with a cold voice. Many of the students' eyes would widen in shock. Wait, what? We're all 15. How could you be 18? In the first years, after all, shouldn't you be a third year or fourth year? No. I got expelled from elementary school, so I never really finished that or went to middle school. Zuko would say, rubbing the back of his head. Wait, what? Really? How'd you get expelled? Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. Bakugo, do you mind explaining that to them? Bakugo would grit his teeth before glaring at Izuku. Wait, so did Bakugo have a hand in you getting expelled? Sort of, but I'm not gonna bother explaining it. If y'all actually want an explanation, you're gonna have to beg Bakugo for one. Alright, class, shut up. We're here. Follow directions carefully, as I'm not gonna repeat them, Aizawa would say, standing up. Aizawa would then direct all of the class outside. They would then end up meeting the rescue hero 13, and how she had this sort of black hole type quirk that allowed her to suck up anything. Many of them would compare 13 to Izuku's blue technique, saying how it both did quite a lot of sucking, as Izuku and then would then walk up into the USJ. As they would be walking up, Izuku and them would push open the doors before admiring the USJ's beauty. There was just what looked like to be miles upon miles of different arenas that they were going to be going through for the next week. They simply couldn't believe it. This was reality for them. They were heroes now, and many of them just didn't know what to think. Many of them would just stand there in awe. Well, class, let's get Aizawa would stop as one of the students would point out their hand, their arm flailing. Wait, look at that! They even have fake villains here! One of them would yell in excitement, as many of the students would dart their heads towards the center where their pointing finger was. Aizawa would his hand, that's not a part of this. Those aren't fake villains, he would say with a serious tone in his voice. Many of the students would look just confused. Wait, what do you mean? How could they have gotten here then if they're not fake? Just trust me. No one go down there, he would say, putting up his hand. Alright. Please, just stay back. It's trying to make them as this portal would open up, widening as mountains upon mountains of these villains would just step out, looking towards all of the heroes standing in front of them, many of them slamming their fists into their open palm. I can't wait for this. We're finally gonna be able to attack some of those new stupid heroes. Many of the low-level thugs would say, gritting their teeth with a massive grin on their face. Izuku would end up seeing a portal open up beneath him. However, he wouldn't fall into it, rather hovering an inch above the ground, as many of his other classmates would fall down into the portal, being scattered all throughout the USJ. Izuku, along with Ida, Mina, and Kaminari, were the only ones that were able to dodge this, seeing it form from very small, as they were all just sort of looking down, I guess. As Aizawa would jump down along with 13, they would both start fighting all of the villains, as Izuku was told to stay there and protect Mina, Ida, and Kaminari. Suzuki would and there he would rush over towards the end door, trying to slam it open. However, Kirogiri would be there already. Whoa, I can't have you escaping now, can I? You see, that just wouldn't be good for our plan. As if you were to escape, everything would sort of just be foiled, you see. Suki would end up looking towards Kirogiri's eyes, darting back and forth, looking him up and down, looking for some sort of weakness. However, he would end up spotting it. Those metal brackets on him. Those have to be something. Zuko would jump towards Kirogiri, grabbing onto its metal brackets, splitting them in two, slowly yanking them apart. Kirogiri would scream in agony, his orbital cork just flaring out uncontrollably. Ida, seeing the opportunity, would slam through the door and would begin running off towards UA, hoping to just contact Nezu or another hero to hopefully send some help out to his friends and his classmates. With the Zuko seeing that, he would jump off of Kirogiri, who would then slowly mend his metal brackets back together. Ugh, you pest, would say before going back down towards Shigaraki. Seeing as one already escaped, it was no use to stop the others. With that, Zuko would towards him. However, upon all of the just low-level thug villains being defeated, Izuku was stepping up towards a massive bird-looking creature. It would stand there before giving off an inhuman-like screech. It would screech very loudly, shaking the USJ. Izuku would stand there before seeing Mina shaking. As Kaminari would try to console her. Izuku would say, "Calm down. I'm sure Aizawa has got this," Zuko would say before Aizawa would get a punch right to the face as a tooth would be sent flying out. Aizawa would see the bird flying over him, slamming fist after fist into his face, bloodying it, so he would be able to do nothing, just being beaten down upon like a rag doll. So this would be happening. Aizawa would look up. We're seeing someone go up behind Mina. He would try to yell out, "Mina!" or he would be knocked out by the Nomu. Behind her, Shigaraki, using Kirogiri, would get behind her, trying to catch a hostage. However, Izuku would be right there, grabbing onto Shigaraki's fist. "Oh, if it isn't Izuku. You know, it's been a while. I haven't met you since I was like 4. Well, you probably don't remember that anyway." "What are you talking about? Don't you remember, Izuku? I'm your nephew, after all." "What?" Zuko says, taking a step back, loosening his grip on Shigaraki. Shigaraki, seeing this, would loosen out his hand, releasing it from Izuku's grip, jetting his hand right towards Izuku's face. However, Izuku would dodge this, grabbing his hand again. "What the hell do you mean I'm your uncle?" "Well, it's simple, really. Your mother, Nana. She's my grandmother. Oh, she was. Before my master killed her." Zuko would punch Shigaraki across the USJ in anger, as Kirogiri would stop him using one of his portals, teleporting him back down towards to be right next to him. "Use your anger, Zuko. I know you have it. Let's see that quirk in action," Shigaraki would yell out. For all of the sudden, the doors would be slammed open as All Might would be standing there. With one of the few times he wasn't smiling, his suit would give off smoke trails. He would yell out, "Where are they?" He would jump towards the Nomu, grabbing his fist, punching the Nomu in the head. However, the Nomu's head would only cock back before punching All Might right in the head, sending him flying across the USJ, much like Shigaraki had just done. As All Might would being sent flying across, Zuko would yell, "All Might!" As Mina and Kaminari would both look on, shocked, wondering, was this how it ends? Is this how their young hero aspiring careers were gonna end? No, it couldn't be. It just couldn't. It would... All Might would jump back up, running towards the Nomu, yelling "Plus Ultra," slamming his fists down, repeatedly barraging the Nomu back and forth, his fists punching, slamming into the Nomu's stomach. He had to kill it. If not, the class he was teaching was going to die. However, right as this would happen, the Nomu would grab All Might's throat before slamming him down into the ground. knocking him out cleanly. Zuko, seeing this, knew there was no other choice. Zuko would take off his blindfold, jumping down, throwing his blindfold as he would catch onto a boulder, ripping off. Suzuki, seeing this, would grow even more angry. How could he have been so stupid with the last thing his mother had given him? Oh well, I guess. Suzuki, or glaring right towards the Nomu, he would hold his hand out, creating sort of this weird massive orb. The ground would start shaking. So all of a sudden, Zuko would yell, "Hollow technique, purple." And that is where the second part of Gojo Deku comes to an end. I hope you all did enjoy it, and remember, part 3 is going to be coming out tomorrow, same time, same place, like always. Make sure to join the channel Discord in a link in the description down below. Like always, comment your what if suggestions. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, I thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye.